Hallo und herzlich willkommen zurück zu Let's Play The Great Ace Attorney. Beim letzten Mal haben wir mit dem 5. Fall begonnen, wobei Fall noch gar nicht so wirklich das richtige Wort ist, denn, naja, bisher ist eigentlich noch gar nichts passiert. Wir gucken uns jetzt gerade nur beim Pawnshop um die Ecke um und sind dabei jetzt auf die gute Gina Lestrade aus dem 3. Fall gestoßen. Somehow I didn't really think you were the sort of person who'd use a pawnbroker, Mrs. Lestrade. Doch, sie ist exakt die Person, die einen Pawnbroker benutzen würde. Yeah, well, I am, alright. I'm a Londoner, just like everyone else. That a problem, is it? No, not at all. It's just that, well... Was denkst du denn, wo man sonst Diebesgut verkauft, du Idiot? Oh, I get it. I know what you're thinking. That thing probably doesn't even belong to her. Probably got in on a dive, didn't she? Yeah, I can see it written all over your Chevy Chase. Well, I might have been thinking something along those lines. Und ist es falsch? You're not going to deny it, Mr. Naruto? Right then, I'm just going to come out and ask you straight. Do you pawn things that you steal from other people? Well, I don't know how best to answer that, really. Suppose, sometimes. Oh, you're not going to deny it either, Mrs. Lestrade. Ich meine, ist doch offensichtlich, oder nicht? But not this time, alright? I swear. That thing belongs to me. The disc that Mr. Windybank is holding. Perhaps we should see what he has to say about all this. Ja, sollten wir vielleicht mal... Was ist das denn für eine Disc, huh? Mr. Windybank, what exactly is this metal disc that Mr. Lestrade has brought in? It seems to have hundreds of tiny little bumps on its surface. Ah, this is a music disc, you see? For use inside a music box. Ja, das habe ich mir mittlerweile schon gedacht. In a music box. Ja, so wie die große da hinten halt. What? You don't even know what a music box is? You Eastern lot ain't too savvy, eh? I know what a music box is. I've just never seen one of these discs before. The small protrusions on the metal disc encode the tune to be played by the music box. You simply insert the disc and set the machine going, and beautiful music plays. It's so incredible. Tell us what tune is on this disc. Well, I'm afraid I couldn't tell you that. There's so many different types of music box, you see. British-made, German, Swiss. You have no way of knowing which particular machine this disc was made for. Ah, I see. And that's it in a nutshell. Deswegen kannst du wahrscheinlich auch nicht so viel Geld dafür hergeben, huh? I wouldn't have any customers for an item like this, even if the young lady forfeited it. Really, I'm already offering more than I should at a penny. That's a packet of lies. He told me he did. He said it was, well... He? Who? Never you mind. It just ain't right, that's all. That is worth good money, I know it is. Ja, aber nicht, wenn du nicht mehr Informationen darüber hast, halt. Well then, you'll have to try your luck at another pawnbrokers, won't you? So, kennst du die gute Gina Lestrade? Ist sie öfters hier? She's been in before, of course. That's a Tatterdemalion. I see. I brought some dubious article, rather with her every single time, I might add. Dubious? What are you trying to say? I'm an honest customer, me. So, is there something dubious about the disc she brought in today? Well, if only it were that simple. Sorry, what do you mean? What she actually brought in was a storage ticket. Oh, also hattest du die Disc schon vorher hier, oder wie? Mrs. Lestrade has actually come to redeem an article from you today. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. A girl like me has a lot of stuff what needs storing. Right, yes, that's definitely dubious. The article in question would have been forfeited at midnight tonight. But she gave me the ticket for it and repaid both the loan and the interest. I was obliged to return the article to her. But what was the article? Also ist das nicht der Artikel gewesen, aber... Okay, ich verstehe gar nicht mehr den Zusammenhang von den beiden Sachen, die du gerade erzählst. Do tell us, Mr. Windybank. The little scam is wearing it, ma'am. It's the overcoat that she redeemed. Oh. What? What's wrong with that? It fits, don't it? I mean, it's mine, so of course it does. Aha, ganz sicher. So what about the disc then? How does that come into all this? The disc is something else. A new article to pawn if the girl and I can agree a price. Ja, also warum erzählst du dann das andere? Das ist doch gar nicht die Frage. I'm confused. I thought you said that Mr. Strahd brought in a storage ticket today. Ja, eben. Ich bin auch verwirrt. It's really quite simple. Yes, the child brought me a storage ticket and the money owed on it, as you say. Of this heavy black coat which you returned to her care, as I understood it. That's right, yes. And rather unsurprisingly, as soon as the little ragamuffin put the thing on, she went rifling through the pockets. Oh, you mean... What? Don't you know it's rude to say a lady? I see. So it came from the pocket of the overcoat, did it? Was? Ist das halt nicht riesig? If you mean this, then yes, exactly, ma'am. Hat das da reingepasst? And she immediately tried to pawn it. For quite a high price as well. This is all rather suspicious, I think. Give it up, I'm just trying to pawn something like anyone else would. Mrs. Strahd, may I ask who deposited the overcoat here in the first place? Well, me? Mm-hmm. It doesn't really appear to be your size. Me, old man. It's me, old man, ain't it? Is it, Mrs. Strahd? Yes, it's definitely all rather suspicious. Überraschenderweise, wer hat das bloß erwartet von ihr? Out of my way, please. Sagt wer? Okay. Who's this picture postcard English gentleman? Schicker Typ. Good day to you, ladies, gentlemen. Wo ist eigentlich Schaumsen? Den haben wir auch schon lange nicht mehr reden gehört. Ist er nicht auch hier? Eigentlich? Immer noch? What's your problem, eh? There is no problem, as long as you remove yourself. I have a matter to discuss with the proprietor. And if you intend to make a problem of it, I shall see you outside, little girl, for the hiding you deserve. Oh, wow. Look, ain't it obvious? I ain't done talking with him yet. If you think you're such a gent, you should know to wait in line. Well, you are an impudent little brat, aren't you? As well as a pickpocket. Eh? Who are you? How did you know who I am? The question is, how do you not know who I am? You haven't the courtesy even to remember the faces of your victims, it seems. What? You mean I? From you? Broker? Yes, sir. I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you now. Dachte mir nicht, was es ihm gehören könnte. Yes. The article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Oh my. Oh, that's a lie. What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you rascal. And Lisa say... And music box discs too. No, you can't have it. You just can't. It's me old man's, or it was, now it's mine. Goodness, Mr. Naruto. This is a very awkward situation. Yes, I think perhaps we should hear both sides of the story in a little more detail. Ach ja, sollten wir das wirklich? Dann fragen wir doch als erstes dich. Ach nee, du hast nichts zu sagen, okay, gut. Excuse me, but who are you? One would expect the inquirer to introduce himself first. Though clearly you are not British, so perhaps our ways are foreign to you. Ah, sorry, yes, we're from the Empire of Japan. We're studying here. Oh yes, Japan. I've heard talk of the place. Die Moves der auch drauf hat. Its inhabitants live on some fiery brown-colored soup dressed up with exotic spices. You might be thinking of somewhere else. What was that theatrical gesticulation about? Perhaps. Anyway, if you are a gentleman, sir, you offer your own name first before inquiring after the name of another. Of course, yes. I'm Ryunosuke Naruto. I'm a lawyer. Well, a student of law, really. My name is Satomi Kotoba. I am Mr. Naruto's assistant. I see. My name is Benedict. Yes, Eggert Benedict. Enchanté. He's horrified in how he holds himself and how he speaks, but that name is suspicious. Ja, findest du? Now to the matter at hand. Die moves sind suspicious. My overcoat, return it at once to someone with the style to carry it off. Every move he makes, every breath he takes. I can't stand watching him. Ja, ich bin auch ein bisschen anstrengend direkt, aber das ist, glaube ich, okay. So, reden wir wieder mit ihr. Was sagst du dazu? Mr. Strut, is what the gentleman is saying. What do you think? It's all lies, isn't it? Obviously. I swear on my life, I never laid eyes on the dandy before. Das Ding ist halt auch, ich kann mir nicht vorstellen, dass du ihn vergessen hättest, ne? So auffällig, wie er aussieht und sich verhält. Let's hear it now, you little ragamuffin. You stole it, didn't you? That ticket you brought in here just now? No, I swear it. I swear to God. It was barely an hour ago. I was walking along the street, minding my own business. When this little gutterling ran into me. I knew at once what had happened. Wobei dann halt die andere Frage ist, wenn es ihm nicht wirklich gehört, woher soll er dann davon wissen, dass sie es geklaut hat? A und B, dass da drin, ja, eine Musikplatte ist. Ich weiß nicht, wie man das nennen soll. Das ist ja keine Schallplatte. Ja, belassen wir es dabei. I've been robbed yet again, I thought to myself. Those wretched pickpockets. Yet again. Oh yes, as you can see, I'm a man of impeccable style. This isn't the first time that I've been targeted by these back-slumped scoundrels. Now then, relinquish my overcoat. Come along now, Mr. Lestrade. Give the good gentleman his coat back. If you're going to cause trouble, I shall have no choice but to call the police. Hold on, why does everyone think it's me? If du ein Taschendiebin bist? Just look at this dandy cove. Do you think I'm the dodgy one? But da hast du recht. I'm sorry, but no one's going to believe you. Well, what about evidence? Where's your evidence that I've stolen something, eh? Come on, let's see it. Ja, also, Oh, I have evidence, naturally. Ich meine, Tatsache, dass er weiß, dass du das gerade eingelöst hast und dass da eine Musikdisc drin war, sollten Beweise sein, quasi. You what? Evidence. Evidence that the article Mr. Strut redeemed actually belongs to this gentleman. Of course, we need only consult Mr. Windbank's ledger to know the truth. We'll be able to look up the name of the person who deposited the article in the first place. Yes, brilliant! I'm very sorry, but I'm afraid that won't be possible. Warum nicht? Was passiert? I never ask customers names. Oh, there's a strict policy of mine. Sehr gut, sehr sinnvoll. But why not? Well now, as you can imagine, some of my customers have circumstances to consider. Ah ja, zum Beispiel, wenn sie Taschendiebe sind oder sowas in die Richtung, ne? A great many of them prefer to maintain their anonymity. Yes, I see. But then, how can I know if an article belongs to the person asking to redeem it? Ja, wenn sie das Ticket halt mitbringen, ne? Man geht ja für gewöhnlich davon aus, dass das Ticket nicht geklaut wurde. Oh, it's quite simple. Good sir. Might I trouble you for the watchword associated with that article in question? Of course, it's... Professor. Yes, that's right, and all the evidence we need. Okay. This gentleman is the rightful owner of the article, without doubt. Oder er hat den eigentlichen Besitzer gefoltert, um das Passwort rauszubekommen. A watchword, interesting. So, about these watchwords, Mr. Windybank. As I just explained, I never ask customers' names when they deposit items with me. There are many reasons why. Certain customers would like to keep their activities secret. Ja, aber wenn du die Watchwords hast, Hast du das dann nicht von Gina Lestrade verlangt? Als sie den Overcoat abholen wollte? It wasn't exactly a subtle glance at Mrs. Shums, now was it? Hi! Was hast du da in der Hand? Was hat er denn in der Hand? Kein Wunder, dass es so still ist. Er ist die ganze Zeit beschäftigt damit, sich Bilder in 3D anzugucken. Great detectives have no dark secrets, not at all. Yes, well, anyway, that's why I always ask for watchword whenever I accept a new article. In many ways, it's like the secret combination of numbers used to unlock a vault. The date of deposit description and a watchword uniquely identify each item. And of course, then I give the storage ticket to the customer. When someone comes to redeem something, I ask for the ticket and the watchword. And if that someone tells you the correct watchword, you return the article? That's right, sir. Yes. Just as soon as the requisite fee is paid. And I have supplied you with the information you require already. But for the avoidance of doubt, the article in question is an overcoat deposited 2 months ago on the 15th February. Stimmt, das Thema hatten wir ja auch. Das ist genau 2 Monate her ist gerade. The watchword of Professor. All perfectly correct information, sir. But how? Really, this is beyond a joke now. There's no further room for doubt. Wie hat sie den dann zurückbekommen? Ah. Das frage ich mich ja gerade wirklich. So, let there be an end to the matter. And thank you for your custom, Mr. Eggert Benedict, sir. With such reasonable rates of interest, I might even decide to come back. This is why I hate grown-ups. Just because I'm a diver, everyone thinks that makes me a liar. The contents of the coat pockets, if you please, broker. Oh, but of course, sir. Here's a disc for you. Und von wem hat sie auch gehört, dass... Oh, just this one? Oh, waren da mehrere? Pardon, sir? I was expecting another. That is, I deposited another. Okay, ja. Ist aber jetzt auch so, klingt das wirklich schon so, als hätte er das nicht hier hinterlassen. Ich meine, sie hat ja auch von irgendjemandem gesagt bekommen, dass die Disc sehr viel wert ist und bla bla, ha? Wahrscheinlich dem eigentlichen Besitzer, was vielleicht wirklich ihr Vater oder so ist, keine Ahnung. Oh dear. I regret to inform you, sir, that what was deposited with me was merely the overcoat. The disc happened to be in one of the pockets, but I was completely unaware of it until now. So, Gutterling, you're hiding more of what's rightfully mine, are you? Says who, eh? I know nothing about it. Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute. The disc. It's mine. Come on. What do you think you're doing, little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal. Oh my, yes. There's blood on the disc. Oh, wow, wirklich. Because of all these sharp little bumps. I must have scratched his finger on them. I found it first, alright? I mean, it belonged to me, old man. So you're not having it? Oh, you take it. Me? Was soll ich damit? Nein, ich will nichts davon wissen. Mr. Strada, why is this so important to her? Na gut, wir haben einen Hinweis entdeckt, endlich mal. You there, in the black livery. Hand the disc to me at once, please. No, don't. He's lying. Grown-ups are all liars. What do I do now? How am I going to resolve this? Ich kann mit allen nochmal reden, denke ich mal. Ich kann mit dir vielleicht reden. Hey, Sholmes, was hast du dazu zu sagen? Mr. Sholmes? What are you examining with such keen interest there? As you enjoy a bar of caramel, I see. So, you found me at last, Mr. Narodo. Sorry? After that young pickpocket sent me on my way, I was forced to lurk in the shadows. Cruelly ostracized, as the rest of you partook in the jovial atmosphere of fellowship. Ich hab dich vermisst! Hättest die ganze Zeit mitmachen können. And nothing to occupy my mind, but was too ashamed to let society see what my downfall had done to me. So feigning mock interest, I pretended to examine the tedious trinkets in the desolate place. Whilst, as you shrewdly observed, gnawing on the only friend I have left, this 7% solution of caramel. Sholmes Caramel? Heißt das so? Ist es deine eigene? Okay. Pray, do you claim to understand the depths of my despair, Mr. Naruto? But how could you? I was so lonely, so desperately lonely. Then, why on earth didn't you rejoin the conversation? Things have gone from bad to worse here, you know? Yes, I overheard much of your conversation. Or rather, in my craving for human contact, my ears devoured every word that was uttered. You really were sad, weren't you? Poor Mr. Sholmes, I feel simply awful for you. It would seem that my inferences are correct. Oh, surely you're not about to tell us that you've solved the entire case once again? Oh doch bitte. My dear madam, sometimes I wonder why my genius for deduction to be commoditized. How much could I pawn it for? It seems Mr. Sholmes has had another of his flashes of inspiration. But who knows if it will help to resolve the situation between Mr. Lestrade and some mysterious gentleman. What's the right thing to do here? Ja, wir hören natürlich zu. Und dann helfen wir ihm auf die Sprünge ein bisschen und das wird bestimmt hinterher helfen. Auf irgendeiner Ebene. Well, Mr. Lestrade, it would appear you find yourself in something of a predicament. Where the blue blaze have you been, eh? Pardon? When a lady's in trouble, a true gent's supposed to be there to help. Straight away! Not an hour later. Harsh. Hast du ihn nicht weggeschickt? And who, pray tell, are you? Mr. Agate Benedict. You have in my eyes a veritably ich gebe auf. Array of curiosities about your person. Enzyklopädik, ne? Hatte ich's jetzt richtig? Enzyklopädik. Vielleicht. Nevertheless, there are two immovable conclusions I have drawn. I beg your pardon. The first is this. The true reason for your visit to this pawnbrokery today is something you have not yet revealed. And the second is this. A considerable crime is in contemplation, one you will orchestrate with intent to steal a vast sum of money. Oh. Also ich weiß, dass etwas hier passieren wird. Aber ich gehe davon aus, dass irgendjemand sterben wird. Das Geld stehlen war jetzt eher zweitrangig für mich. Well, Mr. Benedict, what say you to my deductions? How? He's turned as white as a hard-boiled egg. Ha! Ha! It would seem that once again, Mr. Sholmes has made a flawless deduction. Ja, aber jetzt kommen die Details, die wieder mal Blödsinn sein werden. Erstmal. Just who do you think you are, sir? Ah yes, as I hoped. That is precisely the paint expression I was looking for. So, shall we begin? The time has come for yet another Sherlock Sholmes Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Los geht's. So, Mystery Man's Aim. Warum ist er überhaupt hier? First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured to this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. Was hält er denn in der Hand? As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to the shop in the first place is the staff recruitment flyer. Vielleicht nicht das. The piece of paper in your hand is a staff wanted advertisement from this very shop. Yet, even the most unobservant would soon realize that a man of your appearance has no need of such employ. In other words, there's some ulterior motive for your actions. Okay. Vielleicht, da steht AG drauf. Ist das ein Hinweis? The cane which you unwittingly clutched to your person exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. What a rot. I've had this cane for years. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, missing ferrule. Nicht die falschen Initialien. Okay. The end of any walking cane would be terminated with a metal ferrule to protect the wooden tip. And yet, detailed analysis shows the wooden tip of this stick to be utterly bare. Therefore, there's only one conclusion. The rod that you hold in your hand, which appears to be a walking cane, is in fact no cane at all. Sondern was? You recoiled, sir. Is something wrong? In your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer of the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Yes, your action betrays the truth. The handle which you evidently would like to conceal is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. From the moment I saw it, my suspicions were aroused. What walking cane demands such a stout handle, mused I. But of course, as I said, this is no walking cane. No, that rod. Oh, it's the broken handle of a shovel. Ich bezweifle es sehr stark. What? Are you insane? Ja, ist er. Er ist absolut insane. And now, having determined this undeniable truth, the conclusion is clear. Your true motive for coming here was to take employment in this establishment in order to excavate the ground beneath the premises. Was? What a calculated crime you've conceived, sir. A wickedly calculated crime. I don't know about that. Aber in Ordnung. Great crime. Ja, mal sehen, was will denn da unten überhaupt? Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. But we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, intend to excavate the ground beneath this pawnbroker with a broken shovel? What on earth do you propose I could expect to find there? Some long-forgotten treasure, I suppose? Save for such a fanciful theory, what possible reason could I have to do as you say? Oh, but there's ample reason. As you're only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. Let's consider what would motivate a man to infiltrate a shop such as this and covertly dig beneath its floor. The answer is revealed by the council notice on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. Vielleicht wollte er die Waffe haben. Und jemanden damit erschießen, zum Beispiel. Und was liegt da vorne? Für ein Bild. Das kann ich nicht richtig erkennen, leider hinter der Textbox. And according to the enclosed plan of the upcoming sewage works, beneath this shop runs a sewer that adjoins another, one that runs under the bank on the opposite side of the road. This man has entered the sewers now, has it? Oh, by excavating the ground beneath your feet, you would gain access to the waterway. That flows in very close proximity to the great vault of the financial institution opposite. What are you? In summary, sir, you devised a master plan to pull off an elaborate bank robbery by dint of the underground tunnels. Master plan? Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. With what plunder the thief hoped to make off from the underground vault of the bank? Are you quite serious? Having consulted with Scotland Yard some days ago, I happen to know the answer. But naturally, the answer is no secret to you, is it, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Das glaube ich mittlerweile sogar. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. Das ist der Crystal Tower. Ich wusste, dass er noch relevant wird, aber ich glaube nicht, dass er in dieser Form gerade jetzt relevant wird. Postcard of the Great Exhibition. I'm afraid you've quite lost me. Currently in the final stages of operation, the Great Exhibit will soon be underway. And the government has provided extra funds to complete its centerpiece, the Crystal Tower. Funds that currently sit in the wall of the bank on the other side of this road. Pardon? Yes, the considerable crime you have been contemplating is the theft of that which sits in the vault of the bank, the special reserve funds for the Great Exhibition. Of course, that is top secret police information, so keep it under your hat, please. Ich meine, hey, das wäre zumindest ein sinnvolles Motiv. Trotzdem, vielleicht nicht ganz richtig. Aber das ist ja das Übliche, nicht wahr? Keine Sorge, wir helfen dir, wie immer. Well, Mr. Naruto, an impressively upbeat deduction for Detective Rack of Loneliness, would you not agree? Was it true what you said about the bank over the road and what it has in its vault? Indeed, there are few know of its existence. It is one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. Soll das einfach allen Solo verraten? Gregson told me, in the strictest confidence. But you just announced it to everyone here, rather loudly, in fact. Ah. And if it's such a big secret, how would Mr. Benedict have come to find out about it? There can be but one explanation for that. Clearly it is because the man is a criminal. Ja, das erklärt es natürlich. But what if he didn't know anything about the money in the vault? If he's a criminal, as you said, then buying a brand new shovel is sure to be the first thing he does. Now that you've revealed the secret. Oh. What if he doesn't? Maybe Mr. Windybank will. He already has plenty of shovels here after all. Oh my life, I assure you I'm not so unscrupulous. Aber er hat die Möglichkeit dazu. Oh, well, hopefully this has taught you a valuable lesson. Sensitive information must be handled with the utmost of care. Ja, vielen Dank für diese Botschaft. Werde ich immer bei mir behalten, diese wichtige Information. One can never be sure that someone private secrets won't disclose them, and once the word is out, it's out. Perhaps I'll think twice before confiding in you next time, Mr. Sholmes. An excellent idea, Mr. Naruto, an excellent idea. Well then, Mr. Naruto, you know what to do now, I'm sure. Yes, let's listen to that great deduction again. Very well then, let us start once more from the beginning. Of Herlock Sholmes' magnificent Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Na dann mal sehen. Jetzt bin ich aber sehr gespannt. Warum ist der hier? Genau, irgendwas mit dem in der Hand. Vielleicht ist auf der anderen Seite noch irgendwas anderes. So, denn das ist ja wohl nicht. Er will nicht hier arbeiten, tatsächlich. Aha, in der Tat. Was steht denn da? Was ist das für ein süßes Bild? Oh, look at all the scribbled notes on the back of the flyer here. Ach, ist das ein Bild von Lestrade? I don't believe it. What is it? Listen what it says. Name, Julian Lestrade. Height, 5'2". Green cap, scruffy waistcoat, ruby white shirt, blue satchel, racked. It's a detailed description of Mr. Lestrade. Goodness. There's even a sketch of her, head and all. Although if you showed it to her, she'd fire that smoke grenade launcher in its face for sure. Look, the details of the shop have been written down here too. Windybank's Pawnbrokery, Baker Street. Redemption deadline 15th of April. Which is today's date. How would Mr. Benedict have all that information scored on the back of that piece of paper? Das hat wohl jemand anderes dahingeschrieben und nicht er. Oder er hat es sich aufgeschrieben, als es ihm jemand anderes gesagt hat. Punkt ist. Ja. Er wusste gar nichts von ihr im Voraus. Yes, what brought you to the shop in the first place is the info about Mr. Lestrade. Quite so, my dear fellow. It would appear that the writing and sketch on the reverse of the flyer pertain to the pickpocket Mr. Strahd and to Mr. Windybank's pawnbrokery here. You originally told us that you had merely given chase after Mr. Strahd stole the redemption ticket from you. But that, sir, is a thinly veiled lie. It is information on the back of the flyer that led you here today. By which I mean here to Windybank's pawnbrokery, and today the redemption deadline of that overcoat. So you waited outside for the young girl matching the description you have written down to arrive. And you have gone to some length to hide the reason for your pursuit of Mr. Strahd. In other words, there's some ulterior motive for your actions. Ja, versteckt in dem Stab. Und zwar, er guckt sogar dahin. Und dann geht er einfach da runter. So. Wofür steht AG? Look here, Mr. Sato. There's some letters on the handle. Ah, yes, this must be initials, I think. In the West, it's customary for people to engrave their belongings with the first letters of their names. So the assumes would be HS, you mean? That's right. The initials on this cane, obviously. Oh. Oh. Überraschung.
Take that!
The contradictions of which I speak is of course the initialing. A most astute observation, wouldn't you say, Mr. Edgar Benedict? We are led to believe, sir, that your initials are EB. In a most possessive manner, you have in your grasp a cane bearing the initials AG. An incontrovertible contradiction indeed, would you not agree? Und es könnte auch für irgendwas anderes stehen, natürlich. Ist ja keine Pflicht, seinen eigenen Namen da drauf zu schreiben. No, you're wrong. This cane isn't... You said before that you'd had the cane for years. So don't try to tell us that you just borrowed it from a friend or found in the park. In short, though you hold yourself to be a gentleman, you have withheld your true name. Ja, das ist natürlich die logischere Lösung. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? So. Was jetzt? Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Ich weiß noch nicht. Yes, your action betrays the truth. The handle which you evidently would like to conceal is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. Ja, offensichtlich ja nicht. Let's consider the bare bones of what's happened here. Mr. Strahd redeemed that fine-looking overcoat. A mysterious man has appeared, introducing himself with a fake name, and claiming that the overcoat belongs to him. But you know that he actually identified Mr. Strahd from a weird indescription. Oh. Vielleicht das hier? Vielleicht passt es dir gar nicht. Oh, the seam on the shoulder there's coming apart. Look. So it is. You know, a moment ago when Mr. Benedict was surprised by something that was said, I thought I heard him make a rather strange noise. It sounded a bit like a tiny growl. Ah, ja stimmt, das Geräusch habe ich auch gehört. So, dann nehmen wir das mal. Yes, because the overcoat is rather obviously a poor fit. Having forced it over your broad shoulders, the seam is already breaking apart. My suspicions were aroused from the outset. When you so boldly lied about your name and so boldly waylaid this pickpocket. This catalogue of untruths has all been for one very specific purpose. To steal the article, the young girl redeemed from Mr. Windybank. Das ist nämlich schon er, denke ich. Aber warum? But what really irks me is this. The considerable crime I initially imagined has been considerably curtailed. Ja, das kann es wohl nicht mehr sein, ne? wird wohl nicht viel mit dem Banküberfall zu tun haben. Aber was ist es dann? Was ist es dann, was er damit anfangen will? We must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, designed a wheeze to filch some tawdry article of pawnage? Have you forgotten that I redeemed the article in the proper manner using the watchword? Had I not been the one to deposit it in the first place? How could I possibly have known the relevant details? N'est-ce pas? Oh, but the watchword can be discovered. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Also, er hat drüben einfach das Watchword gelesen, oder was? Auf der Liste. Let's consider how one might come to learn a secret watchword relating to the power and property of another. The method is revealed by the council notice. Ah, vielleicht nicht das. Vielleicht... Was ist das hier für ein Bild? Das Bild kann ich mir gar nicht angucken. Okay. Da ist die Waffe. Die Waffe ist wahrscheinlich auch nicht richtig. Was sehen wir da? Look at this, Mr. Sator. Ah, it appears to be a memo that Mr. Windybank has scribbled to himself. Let's see, what does it say? Oh, Professor, ja, Überraschung. Da hat sich wohl die Passwörter einfach aufgeschrieben. Sehr, sehr sicher das Ganze hier. The method is revealed by the notelet on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. Yes, the broker follows the same procedure whenever a customer comes to redeem an article. He asks the customer for the watchword and notes down the response uttered on a notelet he had to hand. Then he consults his ledger and confirms whether or not the watchword matches that of the article in question. I would expect nothing less of a diligent pawnbroker. But his diligence clearly has its disadvantages. What are you talking about? It is increasingly apparent that you were present in the shop before your accusation against Mrs. Strahd. In all likelihood, you followed her inside and then observed her talking to Mr. Windybank. When the diligent broker made a note of the watchword, as is his common practice, you observed him writing the word professor on the notelet beside the ledger. Yeah, okay, wow. And that, sir, was the master plan you devised to steal the pawned article from the young Mr. Strahd. Masterplan? Das ist also alles. Das ist der große Masterplan. Why would you go to such a length to redeem that particular article from this pawnbroker? Wahrscheinlich ja eher wegen der Musikdiscs als wegen des Mantels selbst. And naturally, you had very good reason to make them yours, didn't you, Mr. Benedict? I've no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. Ja, nein, wir werden ein eigenes Stückchen, einen eigenen Beweis darbieten, denn wir haben auch nur einen dabei. Also von daher, ja, wow, was kann das bloß sein? Ich habe ja keine Ahnung. What precisely was your intention with that, Mr. Naruto? Just following the natural progression of the deduction, sometimes the truth hurts. Zu sagen, das ist falsch? Was? Was? Willst du verarschen? Oder muss ich es mir erst angucken? Come on, was für ein Bullshit. Oh, okay, deswegen muss ich es mir erst angucken. For McGilded. Oh, ist also noch nicht vorbei, der Spaß. Oh, und das ist dann auch derjenige, der das Passwort und alles gesagt hat, ne? Es war ja ein gewisser Er, der meinte, dass diese Musik das ganz, ganz viel wert ist. Ja, haben wir damit geklärt. Oh, there's a little scrap of paper stuck onto the reverse side of the disc. Look. A scribbled word or two. Looks like somebody's name. For McGilded. McGilded? It couldn't be. But it is, Mr. Naruto. A name I shall never forget. For as long as I live. But why? What is his name on this? Ha. Das Buch kann ich mir auch noch angucken? Nee, doch, kann ich. Oh, fuck. Egal. Ist jetzt nicht mehr so wichtig. Kann ich es jetzt präsentieren? Oder muss ich das hier präsentieren? Nee, das geht nicht. Dann gucken wir das Buch jetzt auch noch an, wenn ich schon dabei bin. Look at all the little bumps on the disc. They're so tiny. Here's the protrusions are called pins, and they plug the teeth of the comb to make notes. Just on the edge, there is a small amount of blood. Yes, the blood of the mysterious Mr. Edgar Benedict. Mr. Strutt tried to grab the disc from him. The pin scratched his fingers, it seems. Like when you're grating some daikon radish and accidentally catch your finger. Ouch, just thinking about it hurts. Ja, das war wirklich hilfreich. Also darf ich jetzt einfach präsentieren? Funktioniert das jetzt? Ich hoffe doch. Ja, okay, danke. You see, this music box disc tells us all we need to know. What's that on the back? It reads, for Mr. McGilded. Ah, Mr. Magnus McGilded. The unfortunate philanthropist who perished in curious circumstances at the Old Bailey 2 months ago. Da haben wir also direkt wieder die Verbindung zu seinem Fall und zu seinem Tod. Hoffentlich auch. Den möchte ich halt auch doch noch bitte aufklären. Wäre ein gutes Finale. So you're an associate of his, are you? Or perhaps subordinate? Mr. McGilder was a man of unusually small stature, in fact. He was precisely the right size for that overcoat that you've squeezed yourself into. You traded until you remained shrouded in mystery, Mr. Eggert Benedict. But the final conclusion is crystal clear. The reason you came to this pawnbrokery today was to retrieve an article left behind by the late Magnus McGilded. Tatsache. Oh, ist auch 2 Monate her, dass es hier abgegeben wurde, ne? Und vor ca. 2 Monaten ist er gestorben. Ja. Okay. Passt komplett zusammen, natürlich. Sehr, sehr cool. Wird dann doch direkt wesentlich interessanter, als ich erwartet hätte. Das Ganze hier mit der großen Verbindung